Welcome back to the Crypto Market Updates channel. My name is Jack, and this is the fourth attempt at starting this video. In today's video, I'd like to go over some of the news that have been circling around in regards to Luna Classic. What's been happening with Luna Classic? Because there's some things that are happening, and so I'm going to talk about those a little bit. So we all know what Luna Classic is. Just a few months ago, it went through a massive crash. It went from $160 or $150 down to 0.0008 of a penny, fractions of a penny. And of course, investors lost billions in funds. And of course, everybody's losing their minds because that's a massive crash and it's unprecedented. Really, it's something that's never happened before, not to this extent in cryptocurrency, in the cryptocurrency market. And of course, it scared the living bejeebus out of everybody. But despite what happened, there are a number of factors that I believe could potentially lead Luna Classic to become a massive success and create massive gains for those who are presently holding Luna Classic and continue to do so for the future. I do have some words of caution, however, and particularly in regards to a lot of the YouTubers that are posting videos right now just driven on Hopium. Hopium is great, but it can be damaging because, you know, it creates false security, especially in an uncertain market as we are facing right now, as we're going through right now, especially with regards to economic recession, which we are very likely to go through within the next few months, and of course over the duration of the next year, 2023, which is leading up to the following Bitcoin halving that will take place somewhere in the first quarter of the year 2024. If you don't know what the Bitcoin halving is, I suggest you check out the video in the description in which I explain what the Bitcoin halving is and the paramount importance of the Bitcoin halving and why we can expect another bull run to occur in 2024. But going back to Luna Classic, I noticed that there's a bunch of YouTubers who are claiming, you know, making promises or claiming that Luna Classic is going to $1. There is one here, Luna Classic 0 or 1, 48 hours left, staking, burn to $1, Luna Classic pump or dump, price predictions for 2023. Matthew Perry has actually made a video about his exit strategy. I believe he called it an exit strategy, in which he explains how he's going to ride his profits or exit his profits over the duration of the next few months, and basically just blowing it out of proportion, I think, a little bit, and creating a lot of hopium, which may be a little bit misleading. And you know, I mean, it's good in some sense because it leads people to invest, but if you are a new investor, then I would be very cautious because what we are seeing right now, presently Luna Classic is pumping, but my guess is that this is going to be a pump that will lead to an eventual dump. I don't know how far it's going to dump, who knows how far it's going to pump. Is it a good time to buy Luna Classic? Possibly, yes. It's if we're going to see a further pump, then yes, of course, but I would be very cautious, and here are the reasons why. So let's have a closer look at what's happening presently. Right now, Luna Classic stands at 0.000014 of a penny, which is a significant pump from a few days ago. I think it stood at 0.0009. Binance has it listed at 0.00015 as a matter of fact right now. Right now, Luna Classic on Binance is at 0.00014 of a cent, and so it went up all the way to 0.00016 a little while ago, earlier today, and it retraced right now. So that's a pretty good increase from a few days ago, a week ago or so, which was stood at 0.0000098, right? So we have a pump. And what's causing the pump? Well, I'll get to it in a little bit, but let me just go over some of the things that these guys are talking about. So Matthew Perry, I just saw some of his videos, and he's talking about a penny for a Luna Classic, and a lot of these videos are talking about a Luna Classic for $1. Before we jump on the bandwagon and start celebrating Luna Classic for $1, let's have a look at some statistics or some numbers here, shall we? So presently there are close to 7 trillion Luna Classic. While the overall market cap for the entire crypto market currency space stands at 1 trillion, which is 1/7 of the supply of Luna Classic. So clearly, Luna Classic reaching $1 right now is virtually impossible. As a matter of fact, if you're wondering how much money was, what the highest level of cryptocurrency funds that were ever put into the cryptocurrency space was, here it is, and it stood at $2.9 trillion. So even at that price, even at that market cap, there is no way that with 7 trillion Luna Classics, we'd be able to have a Luna Classic of $1. So something needs to be done. Something needs to happen. And here's the thing. Here are the things that are happening right now on Luna Classic. You can look up all these proposals, the governance proposals that are available on their Terra station, which I'm going to go over and kind of pave the way to present a clear understanding of where Luna Classic is possibly going and why we might be looking at a possible pump. Certainly not 1 penny and certainly not $1, not anytime soon. I hope that in this video I'm going to dispel some of the hopium that's out there, for better, for worse. I hope for better, just to give people a clear head and some clarity. So one of the major milestones that passed right after the crash was the passing of the tax burn, which was implemented 3 months ago, and the proposal was passed, and the proposal was to burn 1.2% of all transactions until Terra Luna Classic reached 10 billion Luna Classic tokens. This proposal passed with 83%, and if you look over here, this number represents the number of tokens that are being staked. So presently there are 400 billion Terra Luna Classic tokens staked on the Terra station, which allows people to vote on proposals and pass them if the community deems to do so. So this proposal was passed with only 186 million tokens out of 403 billion. So that's great. One of the biggest voting powers was Luna Classic DAO and Orbital, which holds a voting power of 15%. The next major proposal was to distribute 50% of transaction fees to the community pool and increase proposer validator rewards. And that was passed with 94% yes and 191 million of tokens out of 403 billion tokens. So the idea of this proposal was to distribute 50% of transactions to the community pool, 35% of which were to be burned via monthly community pool proposals, and 10% airdrop to ecosystem developers, 5% retained to the core Terra Classic development, an increased base proposer and bonus proposer reward from 0.001 to 0.004 and 0.003. So basically the idea is to burn a nice chunk of the fees that are being sent to the community pool in hope of diminishing or minimizing the number of tokens that are presently on chain, and of course rewarding people for continuous work and development on the platform, on the blockchain, rather, on the Terra Luna Classic blockchain. The next proposal that was passed was to re-enable staking delegations to existing active validator sets, only. So this proposal aims to make the following changes. Number one was to re-enable staking delegations on Terra Classic exclusively to the current active validator set for a period of 60 days. The ability to create new validators will remain disabled until block height 8905758, approximately 22nd of August. So by now we should see the ability to create new validators if there are people who are willing to set themselves up that way. And this vote was passed with 165 million Terra Luna, mainly supported by Orion Money. If you can see, voting power 17%, and Luna Classic DAO with 15%. So these are the two largest validators right now. But they only still represent, 165 million out of 403 billion staked Luna Classic tokens. The next proposal was a distribution of code for 356 for the 1.2% burn and re-enable delegation and staking in accordance with Terra governance. And what these proposals are meant to do is to make sure that no validator ever reaches more than 20% of voting power, so as not to overpower, the validation process, or the voting process rather. So right now, Luna DAO and Orion Money are the two largest validators, and Orion Money stands at 17%, 17 point something percent, they're 5 maybe, and Luna LUNC DAO stands at 15% voting power. So both of these entities would not be able to reach a higher percentage of validation than 20. And this is meant to happen for an indefinite period until community governance decides otherwise. So this vote was passed with 198 million out of 403 billion. So the biggest thing that was really passed, what really started stirring the cooking pot here of the Luna Classic community, was passing this burning tax, because Luna Classic, after the drop, basically when the depegging occurred, when people began to sell the Terra stablecoin, millions upon millions of Luna Classic tokens, or Luna tokens, were being minted, and so now we have nearly 7 trillion of these tokens in existence. So the burning tax that was implemented on all transactions was the first step towards minimizing the supply, the overall supply of the Luna tokens, which is fantastic and is exactly what we need. And the idea was to have this burn continue until the total supply of the Luna token reaches 10 billion. Now the new proposal that is being passed right now is to have this 1.2 burn tax until the total supply of Luna Classic reaches 1 billion coins instead of 10 billion coins. And I know this is a massive jump. This is huge, right? We were looking initially at 10 billion, but now it seems like this proposal has been extended. It's presently in voting, and there are 6 days left. And so the difference is, it's 1/10 of what the initial proposal was. But while the initial proposal was supported with a voting power of 0.04%, and it was essentially just supported by Luna C DAO, and not even Orion Money didn't even step in, and there were Thorchain Bull and OX Ventures is another larger, I guess, validator, not as big as Luna DAO. The new proposal of keeping the tax until the total supply of Luna tokens reaches 1 billion now makes up 1 billion tokens, which is 0.27% of the overall supply. This is 1 billion out of 403 tokens, 403 billion, versus the initial 168 million. 1.07, so 1 billion versus 168 million. That's massive. So I am presuming that if this proposal passed with 168 million, chances are that this proposal will also pass with over 1 billion tokens. So we are looking presently at a pretty much, solid certainty. Well, I don't know, it's not 100%, but right now we're standing at 63% yes with a 36% no. 681 million tokens have been staked in favor of yes versus 140 million tokens for the first proposal on burning the tax. So I'm thinking that we're looking at Luna Classic being burned to the point at which only 1 billion of Luna Classic tokens remain. Not 10 billion, but only 1 billion. That's huge. This proposal is to pass. It's going to pass, I guess, because like I said, the numbers speak for themselves. In addition, there is another proposal that is presently also being voted on, and it ends in 5 days. And this proposal suggests that the 1.2 burn tax needs to be repudiated, which means basically, it's a vote against the idea of a 1.2% burn tax. And right now, 95% of the votes, or 82 billion tokens, are being staked in favor or against this proposal, meaning no, this is not what people want, what the community wants to happen. Proposal to continue burning Luna Classic until there's only 1 billion Luna Classic left. The proposal to not let that happen, that is being voted against, which means another reason to believe that this proposal is going to pass, which means Luna Classic is going to be burned until there's only 1 billion coins left. Additionally to all of that burning that's going on, burning the 1.2% with every transaction and trade on centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. Vote and get a drop for holders Luna Classic and USDC. Burning will help stabilize the price of Luna Classic and USD. The reward is proportional to the number of tokens available. You can stake your tokens and receive Luna Classic and USDC airdrop, I guess. I don't know exactly what the details are for this, but again, this proposal is receiving a 93% vote for yes, with 1 billion tokens staked, 49 million tokens staking towards a no. So it looks to me like we are going to see exchanges implementing the burning tax on every transaction, and it just passed a little while ago. When is this? August 26th. The voting has passed, and what this will allow is to for the burn to be implemented all across Binance and other cryptocurrency exchanges, which will also begin implementing the Terra Luna Classic burn at every step for every transaction, whether you're buying, you're selling, whatever you're doing with Terra Luna Classic, 1.2% of the tokens will be burned, thus speeding up the process of lowering the number of tokens. It's a very long road. It's going to take a very long time, and do not hold your breath for it to happen anytime soon, and expect dips to occur. And again, this present pump that we're seeing, this pump that we're seeing here on Binance on Terra Luna Classic versus BUSD is not something that's going to happen anytime soon. We see it pump. How far will it go? Well, I guess you can read the charts and decide, make your own decisions. There's a golden cross on the 1-day chart. So that's something to look at. Binance unfortunately doesn't have a lot of data for Luna Classic because they started trading in Luna Classic after the crash, and once Binance reinitiated its trading of Luna Classic, that's when it shows. This was May 22nd, and so there isn't much data yet, but Luna Classic is presently in the pumping stage. But the road ahead is going to be a rocky one. There is a lot about the economy that is very uncertain. Crypto YouTubers and investors talk about a recession, all the way from Ray Dalio to Gareth Soloway talk about a recession, incoming recession that's going to bring the markets down to its knees. I would strongly suggest to be very, very cautious about putting all of your funds and paying attention to channels like Matthew Perry, who are already talking about a $1 Luna Classic, which is highly unlikely to happen anytime soon, certainly not within the next few months, and I highly doubt that it's going to happen within the next year, not even prior to the next bull run, which is supposed to happen according to past trends, you know, during the next Bitcoin halving, which is about to happen in 2004, somewhere in the beginning of 2004, mid 2004, somewhere in the first quarter of 2004. And again, if you haven't seen the video on what Bitcoin halving is and why it's so important, why it's such an important event, then make sure to follow the link in the description. Make sure to check it out, scour the Crypto Market Updates channel and find the video in which I explain what Bitcoin halving is and why it may be one of the most important videos that you're going to see this year or the year before the next Bitcoin halving. All right, that's it for today. I hope that this video was educational. I hope you gained something from it, and I hope it makes you think. I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest in Luna Classic. I certainly am invested, and I hope that Luna Classic pumps, but I do not hold my breath. I do not foresee a $1 Luna Classic anytime soon. If this is bursting your Hopium bubble, then I'm sorry, but I think reality and clarity is a lot better than Hopium, and then investing into something on which you will lose more money now. If you are ready to put some money in and hold it for the foreseeable future, for the next 5-10 years, hopefully it's not going to take that long, but if that's the case, then by all means, now is probably a good time to invest in Luna Classic, but do not expect a $1 Luna Classic within the next year. All right, that's it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, share the love, share this video with those who you think may like to hear some of it, and make sure to come back for the next video. Bye bye.